I'm John McBride. I'm sitting here with Vance Powell, the legendary Vance Powell.
Legendary John McBride.
At this point, man, I'll tell you. I mean, when I need motivation, I just go down to Vance's place and hang out for a little bit, and it really re-inspires my passion and everything else. But we're sitting in the kitchen at 2806 Azalea Place. That's Azalea in Nashville, Tennessee.
Beautiful Berry Hill.
Berry Hill neighborhood. It's about 5 minutes south of downtown. It's kind of great, though, man. We got our own police force. Yeah. It's kind of bizarre. This little square mile.
1 square mile, 500 permanent residents, 52 studios.
Thank God he knows.
Well, I only know that because we had to do zoning, and the guy's like, you know how many? This is number 52 in the neighborhood. Now, of those, there's really only a couple commercial studios, Blackbird being one of them.
Yeah.
So.
But this all started about 20 years ago. Well, no, it started when we were born, I suppose. Mm-hmm. I met Vance. How did we meet, man? Did we meet?
Well, we met the first time in 84.
Yeah.
I think we were mixing Clocks or Dogs or one of those bands in Galena, Kansas, the little town in Kansas.
Sergeant Pepper's.
Sergeant Pepper's.
That was the name of the club.
Yeah. McBride was from Wichita. I was from Joplin, Missouri. Galena was 10 miles from Joplin. And there was rock and roll bands, and I would go see these bands, and I met him then. But I actually remember meeting him, but don't really remember us talking about anything other than just like meeting. And then years and years later, Martina, well, we have another meeting in there, Jed Downing.
Oh, yeah.
Jed Downing was my roommate. Jed Downing became Martina's lighting guy. And then we met on the road.
Had pretty loose morals that he would actually room with a lighting guy. We're sound guys.
I know. It's
that really
weird.
Goes against the grain.
It really did. And we fought like lighting guys and sound guys. So
if an audio guy gets together with a video guy, I'm not even going there. It would be, it'd be ugly.
It was weird. There was a lot of awkwardness about the lawn being mowed and shit that, of course. But it's a whole nother story. But I came out and met John after TL.
Oh, wow.
After TL and I hung out at a Martina show that you were out with Garth. And I came out and we met. And then not long after that, I was working for Tammy Wynette touring, and she wasn't really doing a whole lot. And John called me and was like, "Hey, I've got to go to South America and Australia and somewhere around the world with Garth or some place, and I need somebody to go out and do this job for Martina. And oh yeah, by the way, you're going to be mixing some of the time," which was like suddenly like a lot of like, oh holy shit. And we did that, and then. Over time, I went and did Jars of Clay. You went on, kept doing this, and then John started calling me, and he'd be like, "Man, bought this house. It's got this tennis court. I don't fucking play tennis, so I'm thinking I'm gonna build a studio out there.
My knees suck."
Yeah, he's like, "I don't fucking play tennis."
Well, they're new now.
And at that period of time, I had just built a little studio for the Jars of Clay guy, and we're making a record. So we started like commiserating back and forth over really good wine of John's. And then we both came to the realization that if you build a studio at your house, some bass player is going to back into your yard and get stuck all night, or the cartage truck's going to tear up the yard, or some shit's going to happen in the middle of the night that's not going to be cool. And so John started looking around, and at the time, I was over in this area for some reason. He called me one day and he said, "Hey, gonna go look at this building, and you gotta meet me there. And can you meet me?" And I said, "Sure." So I came over and met him, and it was this building. And he walked through and looked at it. There was a session going on, and or some sort. And
well, it's funny because when they used to do sessions here, the history of this place is it started off as a legit studio. I think George Augsburger designed the A-room. And
Brent Mayer
had it. And then he moved out and sold it to some advertising guys who used it.
Yeah, they ran ads
sparingly.
They had a Sphere console. They didn't do any maintenance. So
ever.
The guys who worked here, when they went to mix, they would take the modules out of the console, put them in the refrigerator.
In the freezer, actually.
Yeah, they put them in the freezer, and then they would take them out, put them in the console, and print.
While it was quiet, because once they got hot, they made a lot of noise.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I'm sorry. It's insanity.
John had bought this Neve desk and had sort of started refurbishing it. And then he bought this building, and then he called me up. I was out on the road, and he's like, "Hey, man, I need somebody to come over here and help me build this place." And so I left my touring world and came over here, and
it was unbelievable. It's fun.
This is what happened,
Man, how
and
that
so
happened.
and I remember it started out. John's like, "Okay, we're gonna keep the budget. Like I'm looking like maybe $1 million, and I bought these microphones, and I found this really nice antique chest. We were just gonna set up out there, and about 5 weeks into the experiment, I would call it, that thing was full." And I'm like, okay, cool.
For microphones.
We're going to need like something really nice here we got to figure out a place to put mics. So
I think the first mic locker was up here.
Yeah.
Still is a mic locker.
I mean, there's so many things about this. This was a house. This house was built in the 40s, right? This door was the back door. That went outside.
Yeah.
On the other side of this was added on. That side was the garage. So here in a minute, we're going to go in Studio B. That was the garage. Under the floor of Studio B are still the little asphalt tracks about the width of a 1930s car under the floor. And then there's like 7 roof lines up above all this.
We've recently been running fiber.
Yeah.
And rediscovering all our roofs that are underneath the roofs.
Underneath other roofs. There's roofs on top of roofs. So yeah, it's crazy, and all these offices back here at one point were things, and So yeah, it was a crazy time. And then he decides to buy the building behind him, the studios behind him.
What happened was I'm home or somewhere, and Vance calls me and he goes, "Dude, George Massenburg and Kyle Lenning, I think, are over here, and I'm giving them a run around the place. I broke every traffic law you could break. I got here because." Massenburg, and really, honestly, not even knowing how incredible Kyle Lenning is, too. Yeah, absolutely. But I thought, shit, I'm going to meet the guy that invented parametric EQ or whatever, or just, unbelievable. So I show up, and the first words out of Massenburg's mouth, he looks at me and he goes, "What the fuck is a studio like this doing in Nashville, Tennessee?"
Yeah.
And I thought, oh boy.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you, Vance and I are from the Midwest, but I love Nashville. And there's great players here, there's great writers, there's great producers, engineers, there's great everything here, in all aspects of the music business. And I'm kind of competitive, and I thought, we need to build a studio that will kick the shit out of anything in LA or New York. And I'd argue we have. And I don't want to sound like some arrogant prick, but I love audio. I have to be in music. He has to be in music. We have no choice. It's in our DNA. There's something that happens when you're a baby. And I don't know if it's the mom's heartbeat or the sound of her voice.
Mine sure wasn't my French horn lessons, I can tell you that.
Well, you know what? I sucked at piano, too. At least it helped me read a little. It sure wasn't
French horn lessons, I can tell you.
Man. But anyway, so when Massenburg said that, it just totally, basically was, yes, I did this for the right reasons. Because if you can impress George Massenburg, you're going to be all right.
So to come full circle, Brent Mayer, who owned this building, when he sold it, he bought the 2 houses next door.
Double lot, behind us.
And they built a little studio out back. It was a double lot. There was 2 houses. They built a little hallway between them, and he had a publishing company, that little publishing studio. So at some point, John walked over, through the backyard, because it was literally just a backyard back there, and went over and
met Brett. But I said to George, I go, "Hey, George, if you ever want to do something together, let me know, man." And George looks at me and goes, "Well, I've had the perfect room in my head for 25 years. And I thought, fuck that, let's build it. You know, I mean, don't leave it in your head. I mean, this guy talks to God about electricity. You know, he's just genius. I don't use that word too often, but he really, really is. And I thought, here we go. And so, you know, I called the wife, hey, honey, you care if we do some extra shows this year? And for the rest of your life, by the way? No.
We're going to do some renovations at the studio, just few little things.
Man, Well, I'd find a great 251 or something, and I'd call her, I go, girl, you know, because I had some money because I had sold my sound company to Clare Brothers, and it was going really well, but not realizing the kind of money you really need to get into a studio. And whatever the budget is, 2.5 times it, and you'll be close.
Yeah, I always tell people double it and add 10%, but that's probably right. Double it and add another half. So.
Yeah, man. It is insanity. But here's the problem. We've got to give the producers and artists and engineers that come in here, we want to give them every color on the palette, because a Fairchild 670 is a color, an RCA BA6A or a BA86 or whatever you're using, whether it's the mic pre's, whether it's the microphones, the rooms you're in. These are all colors, and I don't want them to ever lack any color for making, you know, their vision come true.
Right. It's a boon and it's a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
Because as an engineer going into a studio, you go, okay, cool, let me see what mics you have. You come to Blackbird and it's like, all of them? You go, okay, so what mic, all of them. What compressors? All of them. Oh, you know, I mean, honestly, it's a little bit like, well, fuck, now I have nothing to blame anything on. Can't blame.
That is the problem.
I can't blame. Yeah, well, you know, if I just would have had a 251 for this female vocal, it'd been great. But, you know, they didn't have one. And now it's like, oh, no, there's 35 of them. Pick one, or pick 2, or 3. Go through them, or 6, or 8. Or at one point, you know, they did 35 microphones, did a shootout of 35 vocal mics. All different ones.
Oh, with James Otto.
Yeah.
And this guy could clip an SM57. I mean, he had a powerful voice.
Yeah.
What won, the RFT or something? Or
I don't remember what won. I know that it was that there was a frightening closeness between a handheld 58 and a 47.
Yep.
They were frighteningly close.
Hey, just because you got a U47 doesn't mean it's great. That's part of the deal. It's got a history, who worked on it.
Yeah. And they don't work for everything.
No.
Yeah.
And the day it was built, was it a Friday on a 3-day weekend?
Well, we just did that this week. Yeah. We tried the 47 on vocal, and it didn't work. Ended up in SM7.
Yep.
You know, so...
An SM7 with the Telefunken V76 mic pre is that close to a lot of 251s.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm not kidding.
Cool. You want to show them around?
Yeah, we should walk around.
We should do it.
We'll talk all day. This room is the A control room, built in mid-70s, I believe. Originally a compression ceiling, and we found out that doesn't work. Called George Augsburger back. He came in. We widened it, changed the ceiling, and this used to be the back of the room right here.
Yep.
And we extended as far as we could to go about 8 feet to go to the property line, basically. The design of Blackbird is, where's the property line? And that's kind of kind of what happens. That console used to belong to Donald Fagen, and it was at River Sound in New York. Prior to that was Motown LA. Yeah. But we turned it upside down and made it as perfect as it could possibly be. I called Jeff Tanner, who worked for Neve when they built that console. Mm-hmm. We opened the schematics, had his initials on them. I love that. And he was aware of everything about that console. And man, I just never said no. And if we could spend more money, we did. But I felt like this is the heart of what's happening here, you know, and it's got to be great.
But let's go look at the mic locker.
Yeah, let's do that, definitely. So this is not the original mic locker, but this is where we keep most of a lot of the high-end mics. Everything's labeled. You know, our rarest mic is a stereo Telefunken 251. I'm not sure if there's another, but basically it's a 251 with the additional capsule, stereo image right there. I like the serial number.
Now I actually think that's the replica. I think this one, which I can't reach.
Oh, you know where it is?
It's up front.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's an exact replica.
Because see, I'll throw this at people.
Yeah. There is a couple cool things. Of course, that mic's being used, but this is cool.
Oh yeah, C24 number 1.
Number 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even in the sales pitch that it was number 1.
Yeah.
It's so odd. It was part of a collection.
I just saw number 2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the guy in LA.
Man.
Yeah.
From Warner Brothers, I think. I
Very
bought that
cool.
mic collection. I think Tony Fishman was involved in that deal. Man, I paid retail over the years. I'll tell you.
But there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Now, this room and the big room, which you saw in some of our shots, was added after the fact. So after about a year and a half of Studio A being open,
Right.
he decided we needed a bigger room. And so part of it was, well, we really need a secure place to put the microphones.
Yes.
And so in this room, all the microphones went. And what ended up happening was at some point, when Across the Way opened up, we had to have one over there too.
Yes.
So what you see in here is actually, you'll see holes where things are empty. And that's because they're in the other room or they're in place.
Yes.
They're being used elsewhere. There are some really cool, kind of dumb, rare things in here. Obviously, and 101. There's a pair of PB31s down here.
Yep.
And these are the original, the very first ribbon mic. This is a ribbon. These were made solely for Radio City Music Hall. And John came across, there's a couple of them down here.
A buddy of mine runs Radio City, and he called me and said they were selling these mics that have been in there since it opened, basically. And
But I mean, you know,
I ended up picking them
KU3As.
up. Yeah, I love
There's
those.
KU2As down here. Oh boy, something stuck underneath it. KU2As, these are skunk. I like this, lackluster.
You know what?
I think it's down below.
Oh, it's down below. It is.
Yeah, I screwed us with the. I screwed us. Okay, well,
You know what? We'll get to
somebody,
this.
We'll get somebody to fix
We'll
that
pull
later.
that drawer out. Yes, absolutely.
But there's amazing stuff in here. 47s. These are all 47s.
Yes.
251s. C12s. These are all C12s.
67s, 269s. I love these mics.
M50s.
Yeah, M50s. I'm a huge M50 fan, I'll tell you. I think we only have like, well, it sounds horrible. I think 14.
Yeah.
I sold a couple pairs. I've regretted selling anything I've ever sold every time. Every time. I love these mics. These are an old Neumann measurement mic called, this is an MM3, I think. Yeah, this is a 3.
Three and a 5. Yeah.
And they make a 4 also. I don't have any of those yet. But the capsule's up here, the body's down here. They put this in so that reflections from the body wouldn't affect it.
And quick.
And it's an Omni. It's similar to an M50, really, is the best way to describe it.
Very similar capsule.
Yep. And they're flat from it's ridiculous. It's like 16 to 22K or something. And, you know, way probably above what I can hear these days. But when something stays flat to 50 or 60K, you hear it. Whether you think you hear it or not, you know the difference. It's pretty amazing.
Here's one you're not going to see very often.
Quad
You know
mic.
what this is? A quad 69, SM69.
Now we're trying to get a new Atmos mic built that has 16. No, I'm kidding. All right. No. Yeah, all right. There's 16 capsules in this one. But anyway, I love microphones. It's become one of my big passions. The Beatles rooftop mics. We've got that whole mess. One of my faves.
Telefunken
1932.
ribbon mic.
And, you know, it's amazing. how that sounds on a kick drum or a vocal. I'm not kidding.
Really good.
It's really crazy. It is. The other thing we try not to do.
Melodium.
Oh yeah, the melodiums are great,
Yeah,
man.
it's the same.
That was in Radio City also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 2 of them. We got 2 of them here. An old French, yeah.
It's French Frab.
Yep. What other good mic stuff do we have laying around, Vance?
Well, there's actually some back here that are in cases.
Yeah, yeah. We've got a bunch.
Doug Sachs, Sheffields.
Right.
There's some of those in cases back here. There's a what's that thing? That AMS mic? The
oh yeah.
The AMS Soundfield.
Yeah.
There's a Soundfield. That's pretty cool. And then I mean, yeah. Clips.
And what happened was, over the years, we bought a lot of gear because I just didn't, and I'm a road guy. So a roadie with the budget's a scary thing, man, or, a roadie with some pockets, it's scary. And obviously without Martina, this place never would have been built, but she was behind the idea and has regretted it ever since. No, I'm kidding. That's not true. It's funny because I got an offer not that long ago. Somebody called and wanted to talk, and I brought it up to her, and she goes, fuck that.
Well, now it's sort of like, it's.
And I'm going, wait a minute, you've tortured me for years. We could have been retired 10 years ago. No, I'll never retire. I don't think you will either, Vance. I mean, when you love what you do, and we love what we do, why would I retire? This brings me so much joy. Especially tracking. I love tracking days.
You know what retirement is? Retirement is getting to do the gigs you want to do.
There you go.
And then everything else you don't have to do.
Right.
That's what retirement is. I'm not there yet.
I'd see that.
I'm not there yet.
Me neither.
But, like when you can, do what you want to do. And, and then you can, the rest of the time, you can, fuck off in however way you want to fuck off.
And, Nashville, I don't want to sit here and be a commercial for Nashville. But the fact is, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of great, and I mean great players. Not good, great. Good is the enemy of great. You think good, that's okay. Well, fuck that. That doesn't get anybody's attention. You know what I mean? So the fact that I get to come in here and work with people like Bukovac and, you name it, Glenn Worf or Dan Dugmore or whoever, it's just... And then we obviously, a lot of players come in from out of town. I've gotten to become friends with Vinny Caliuto and Steve Jordan and a lot of people. And I've even met some Beatle engineers and gotten to hang out with them, which is, to this day, still blows my mind.
Got to hang out with Emmerich that day. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go look at B.
Yeah, let's do that. This room is tiny. So we needed a small console. I found this API. It's 48 big faders, 48 little faders, a lot packed into a small package. Love it. A lot of great stuff has been done in here, know.
The Dixie Chicks record that Richard Dodd did was done here.
Oh, yeah, the won all the Grammys. Yeah. That, Chili Peppers, I think. Got a little record space. There's a little reverb chamber back there. There's a bathroom. Vance did an entire album in this room. Drums in that room. Guitar amp in the bathroom, bass direct in here.
Yep.
Awesome.
I mixed Murder of the Mountains of Red Fang in here and Jeff the Brotherhood and all kinds of stuff. Recorded Buddy Guy in there. Yeah.
Buddy Guy in 2004 came and made a record here. No, 5 probably, because it was in D. And he told me, I went over to meet him finally, been here a couple weeks, and I'm just not a politician. I just can't. I don't go over, hey, But I had to go over and go, listen, we're so happy you're here. And he goes, John, I'm never going to make a record anywhere else. And he's been true to his word. It's unbelievable.
I think it would have been 7.
Might have been,
That record.
Yeah, and it was it's so good. Was that the one that had 74 Years Young?
That's the next one.
Oh, that was the second one. Yeah.
I did too.
74 Years Young, and that was how long ago?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, there's a whole story there. We'll get over to D. We'll tell you. There's some fun stories. This is the other mic locker.
This one
and
is
gear storage.
And there's a lot of mics in these drawers. Let me get a key here. And everybody knows where the key is. I love it. Yeah, I'm kidding. And if a door doesn't answer, just hit it, you know. But where do you want to start here? I mean,
just open.
Yeah. Oh, I got to show you this mic. And it's mate, which is right behind it. They're both in still the original boxes and consecutive serial numbers. And we never use these, only because they're sitting up here. Yep. We got a bunch of 77s in different places, but just the condition of these. Is that beautiful? I mean, it's just kind of beautiful.
I have one of these, I love it, and it doesn't work.
Ah.
Ball and biscuit.
Yep, ball and biscuit.
Yeah, so this kind of gives you the idea. This is
full of mics. After mics,
yep.
after mics, after mics.
This is even more. So we just kind of go down the line here. These are all D25s, CMVs.
Oh, here's our creepiest mic.
Oh yeah,
I've done this before, but so it wouldn't be original material. But I had this mic for a year, part of a collection I bought from Europe. And one of my guys goes, "Hey, John, the Nazi Party stamp is in the top of this mic." And I thought, no wonder nobody uses it. I don't know, it's just kind of crazy and creepy, but it's here, and I became a big
information.
I became a big RFT fan, and I would buy any RFT I could find for years until finally one of my mic guys who works here, Brian, said, "Dude, we don't need any more RFTs." Yeah. I go, "Why?" He goes, "We have 43 of these things, but I really like them. They're a lot like a 47. It's the power supply is in the tube or in the bottle.
Yeah, it's 220.
And it takes
M7,
the bayonet style capsule. You can do an M7, an M8, an M9 if you want cardioid, figure 8, or omni, But they really, really sound great. Martina's whole timeless record she did with one of those mics, and it's fun. And we got tons of capsules. I love that. We got a bunch of old white 421 Telefunken.
It's a $10,000 mic.
It is.
Cable.
But the cool thing is, if you get cancer, okay, it's gone. Cool. I love that. Should we go back to here? Oh, yeah. God. So we have a tech shop, which, believe it or not, is probably cleaner.
This is the cleanest I've seen it in
forever.
I was going to say in 20 years.
Yeah. Well, it's because of Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're now making our own Neve caps, our knobs. Yeah. We 3D print a bunch of crazy stuff. I think most of this stuff works still already. And there used to be gear piled everywhere. Now those are Telefunken mic pre's. I'm a big, big fan of those. This room.
Here's a mass of these.
This is a mess, but this is where some of the Telefunken mic pre's are. I think we have 137 altogether. And that would be V72s, V72A and B, V77s, V78s, V76s, of course. We have 8.
You got some 74s, I know.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of M's.
Which are like a line amp. 74s, I think, are like a line amp.
And then we've got a spare 16-channel expander for a 1608 sitting there on the shelf because, I don't know why. Part of having a studio is you got to be able to maintain it and finding tubes. And I remember 15 years ago, I bought 25 never been used AC 701s, but great AC 701s. And it was like $500 a piece. And I went, I am the stupidest guy on earth, but I'm getting these. And guess what? Now they're $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever.
And you probably used 2 or 3 of them.
That's all we've used.
Yeah.
And we still have 23 left. Man, I love the AC 701 tube. Oh, there you go.
So here's the real one. We just showed you everybody where it is.
And the serial number is actually 101.
Yeah, it's 101. Black. And what's interesting is the finish never got polished. So it's like a satin. And but yeah, that's the original one right there.
I love it.
And it sounds fantastic.
It does.
So,
although, you know what? I'd probably still use 2 mono 251s so that I have more freedom with placement. But you know what? It's nice to use that just to say you did, you know?
Sounds good on acoustic guitar.
I don't know another one on earth. And you know, it's funny, from the outside, this looks like just some other little house in Berry Hill.
Yeah.
I remember Kid Rock going, I pulled up and I go, what is this, somebody's fucking house? But he goes, then he came inside and it got better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we added, you can see what we added to the building because it's got a different texture, obviously. And then we're Beatle fans around here, and one of my daughters has been painting some of our doors. And it's usually a Beatle lyric.
Is that Emma? Or is
yes,
that,
Emma.
Yeah.
Also, we bought the transformers from the city of Nashville, so no one else can tap off that one or that one. And you'll notice there's 3 wires coming off each, and that's us. That's our tech power.
And this one is the regular power. That's a 1,000 amp service.
Yeah, it's a 3-phase 1,000 amp, and they added this telephone pole, which goes down about 25 feet. I'm not joking.
And out here in the middle of this, out here in the middle
star
here
ground
is a huge star ground. It's like 10, 16-foot copper rods driven in the ground with 2-gauge welding cable, all welded, and a big, huge cable going up into a room we'll show you later.
And this is the first place that tech power and house power meet, is underneath this driveway.
Yep.
That's the E room. And so we used to line out of Baby You're a Rich Man, tuned to a natural E, happy to be that way. Now, A was mine. It's a man cave. Me and Vance made it a man cave. But this building, Martina got involved. And that's why you feel dainty and elegant and all those things.
Anybody indeed?
I don't know, man. Let's take a look.
Looks like the school.
And we can probably run through real quick. You know what? Let's go into the lounge for 2 seconds.
Okay, cool.
We got this, is it a 31 or that mic?
It's a RCA, it's a 77A.
Yeah, its mate is in one of the other mic lockers, but people have actually used it for overdubs in
I've
there.
used it.
When you come to a studio, you don't want it to be like going to the dentist. You want it to be like, I feel inspired and I feel, you know, with these rich colors and, you know, it's just kind of decadent.
Bordello chic.
What's that?
Bordello chic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like going to a nice Powerhouse.
That's a good way to describe it.
Now there's some kind of nutty things here. You guys can't really see it, but I want to explain real quick. This floor, and that floor, and that floor, and that floor do not connect. This little booth is a foot of solid concrete sitting on 9 or 10 inches of rock wool, sitting on another 9 inches of concrete on another foot of gravel. So this room, these walls are floating, not touching any of the rest of the building, even though it looks like it. It's not.
We're fortunate because this we built from the ground up. So every room is separate. You know, everything is a floating slab.
Yep.
I wanted to keep the rooms not influencing each other.
These are all 8-inch inside rooms are 8-inch block filled with concrete. Outside is a 12-inch block or 18-inch block. I don't know. It's
12.
huge.
Well, usually 12, a foot of air,
right,
and another foot of solid concrete.
Yeah, crazy.
There's so much concrete in this place. I often wondered, are we going to sink? You know.
Sorry.
Do you guys mind if we step in for a minute? Can we interrupt you for a minute?
Well, we're not going to interrupt you. Just keep working. We're just doing a quick tour.
Oh, cool. And then, so for your drumming, you can come back in when I go, think about the ways. Yeah, come in on ways.
So for the D room, we got a 96 big fader Legacy Plus and 96
We
little
can go
faders.
from the first chorus, if that works.
And then the outboard rack. the general smattering of, usually it's mic pre's and things over on that side. There'll be a lot of compressors and EQs in here, effects and compressors over here. We have over 100 channels of Neve outboard for channel strips if people want to use Neve in a room like this.
Right there.
And we have one BCM 10. Oh yeah, there's some 1073s, sure.
Are you using the chamber?
No, we're not.
Cool.
You're not?
Let's go
Yeah,
in
we
there.
can go in the chamber. All right.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite rooms in the whole building.
Oh, and if there's a tornado, this is where you want to be. There's more concrete between us and the outside world than you can shake a stick
This
at.
room is an accident in a way. This was supposed to be above us here, AC. And while they were building the room, again, these are all separate walls and all. Somebody told John that, hey, you should make a chamber. And he came over and went, okay. And
Well, we did the same thing in A, and we should have looked at that, because in A, I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I don't want the big room to always sound the same. I don't want the chamber to always sound the same. I want to have some variance. So at the one in A, the ceiling goes up and down. And you can get it down to here, and you're in the shower, and you take it up, and you're,
But let me show you, it's really cool. Check this out.
So if these guys were more experienced, they'd have a stereo mic in here, that door open, picking up the... Hey! There's about 8.5, 9 seconds of
It's
decay.
really beautiful.
It is.
Really beautiful.
Although I couldn't afford to put another moving ceiling.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Actually, this is better. So it just.
Oh, and
sounds
these
better.
doors are the equivalent for sound isolation of a foot of solid concrete. I don't even know the manufacturer, but they weigh about
Acoustic
400 pounds.
Solutions.
Yeah, okay. And when you leave this place, if you're here for a week or more, your right arm looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger and your left arm's all spindly.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, they're magnetic seal, and they weigh a ton.
Yeah.
Literally, they weigh a ton.
They're heavy.
Yeah.
That wall behind the drummer is 3 feet. No, it might be 2 feet of solid concrete, and it's at an angle because.
And then behind it is a trap.
Yeah.
So the room it's trapped behind it. It's really pretty brilliant. Michael Cronin designed.
And I love talking in here, and then if you talk as you walk out, the difference, it just dries right up. No, man.
Stay there.
No. We already got a couple crotch shots and wanted to. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so
But-
that's what I was talking about.
And we use the skyline diffusion on the ceilings. This wood on the walls is called flutter free. But when you clap your hands in this room,
That's awesome.
you don't hear any weird reflections.
Give me a little snare. Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Okay,
Now
now,
check this out. Just single stroke me. String set.
so if you can hear me, put a mic in the chamber and open the door. Booth, piano room, booth, 3 amp lockers behind the piano room so that we can have more people in here, because eye contact is important. And that's the only drawback to A, really, for me, is that when we added on that great big room, we put a lot of players in that room, but the piano is separate and the vocalist, depending on where they want to set up. We should go down the hall.
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
Thanks.
No problem.
When we did that Buddy Guy record,
Yeah. Oh, you had more
I had
fucking amps.
9 guitar amps in here in this room.
Yep.
All wide open, all connected on. It's crazy.
Yingmei's got nothing on Buddy Guy, I'll tell you that right now.
There's three little amp lockers back
Yep.
here. This is a storage and a little mic locker
Yeah,
back here.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
some storage. And then this
Overflow gear is up
is
top.
overflow rental gear.
You know, it's funny, when I gave Bob Ludwig a tour, he came through and he goes, I used that in the 60s, and that in the 70s,
Wendell
and that in the 80s. He goes, my whole history is here.
Yeah. Wendell Jr. sitting up there.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
I like this room.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the big differences, or a difference between Blackbird and most studios. We have a lot of band gear, a lot. Over 60 guitar amps. We've got 5 AC30s, one new one.
Come on in.
And a bunch of old ones, 2 with top boost. We've got some Dumbles in here. We've got some old Watkins. We have a 69 Marshall Super Lead. And one of my favorite things I've ever heard about that is when Steve Mason from Jars of Clay hit a chord on, I think it was a Les Paul, maybe. And he goes through that 69 Super Lead and he goes, that's why they call rock and roll the devil's music. Right there.
Right there. Yeah.
And by the way, it's Christmas Day because we work year round. I'm just letting you know we're all doing this on Christmas, okay? Let me get a light on here.
Okay.
Thanks, Vance. Let's see. I know I can find something. There we go.
This is the former George Massenburg office.
Yes. Wow, I've forgotten that. Man. So we had enough gear that we decided we might as well rent some gear out if we're not working, because if we're not working, people are working at home or somewhere else. They still need a great mic chain. So we started the rental department back in, I don't know, 2004, maybe?
Probably 3 or 4.
And a lot of the favorite mics of people, they all have names in here.
Betty, Getty.
Yeah, Sweet.
Yep. Yellow, YOLO, yellow.
Yep.
Blue.
Man.
Yep.
And then we have some of the more kind of esoteric gear that might be in this room. We've got a couple of old Motown EQs. These are from the first 25 that were ever made. Mike, he's in his 80s and he's still alive. Mike came through and we took the tops off and he looked at him and go, oh yeah, these are first 25. We did this, you know.
That's cool.
And then back here, if you can fit, we've got some Cooper Time Cubes. We've got some Helio shit. I love these. I still have to figure out why you can have a 15-to-5 ratio, a 24-to-8 ratio, or a 3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, 24-to-8. 24-to-8, I mean.
It's 3-to-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15-to-5, that's 3-to-1 too.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. I love a Cooper Time Cube. This is garden hose.
Compressors.
Rolled up in a box with a mic on one end and a speaker on the other.
Yeah. One's a garden hose, one's a PVC hose.
Yeah.
The Pi compressors from Pi Studio.
Oh,
Pi
yeah.
Records.
I love those Pis.
BBCs.
And we love EMI shit. These are EMI EQ modules out of mastering desks. I bought one from Abbey Road. This is a rack with 2 EQs, 2 compressors. I got offered a lot of money for this rack, but I haven't sold. Well, I have 2 of them. One I actually take with me on the road live, which is insane. I shouldn't do it, but you know what? I got to cheat any way I can. I got to stack the deck of my favorite to sound good. And just going through these without even using any EQ makes it sound better. The circuit sounds incredible. But yeah, lots of old stuff.
I didn't know you bought a Soundgas 636.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
I got an Echo Rec from those guys too.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, man.
Very cool.
Yeah. Ebo's a local guy who, Eric Borash, who builds spring reverbs for guitar players. But he started making rack mount units and everybody loves them. Those are springs, yeah.
Well, you know, I'm a spring fan. I have it, and that 636 is Grampian 636. I have a 666. 666, yeah.
Nice.
The Devil's Boing.
Yes. I think Fairchild makes a 666 something also. Might be a...
Well, EV makes a 666.
Oh, they do. That's true. Yeah.
And we can't get out.
Pull. Yes.
That's why we can't get out.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah.
If you went to your control room, we have 9 different rooms. If you went to your room and you didn't find what you wanted, you just go, I need this and this and this. And we'd come over here. And you'll follow me if you want. But we've got just stuff and more stuff. 33 609s. 3 out of the 4 are metal knob here. Is that a Shadow Hill mastering compressor, I believe? We've got a lot of Chandler gear. I love Wade Goki. I love him. Some Neve channels. In here you've got, we have, I think, 65 Pultecs and over 60 1176s. We have LA2As. Lots of different compressors. LA3As, LA4As. And then back here, there's even a little more.
Bunch of Langs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those are rare.
Man, I know.
They didn't make many of those.
They were hard to get 15 years ago. Since we do have all this, we have 100 guitars in-house also, and these are all guitar pedals. And you'd be shocked how often somebody asks for whatever pedal.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we need to put those things on them where it beeps if they go out the door. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I've lost a couple pedals.
Man, it's an RCA BK5. It might be an A because the Bs I keep for guitar. It's one of my favorite electric guitar
Yeah,
mics.
I've got a B and an A.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you, they're kind of about the same.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because the B supposedly goes flat to 15K.
Yeah.
50 to 15, and the A is 80 to 10 or something like that, they say.
They're pretty cool. They're pretty similar. On a
You know,
guitar.
they needed a bunch of A's. They go, fuck it, we got these B's ready, stamp an A in that thing. All right, well, let's go.
All right.
EMTs, I'm a huge EMT fan.
250s?
Yep. And we have a bunch of 240s. We've got even a tube 240 that we just have to get working. And we've added an extra tech, and we're getting so much stuff caught up right now. It's really good. That's the API anniversary 2500 up there.
They took something good and made it even bigger.
You're right. I love those guys. Oh, man, I do. One other thing I want to point out. That unit right there, that's an IQ Air medical grade air cleaner. They're about $1,300, but they pull 0.003 micron shit out of the air. We've had relatively no COVID to speak of in this entire facility between the school and the clients and the staff. It's been amazing. We also built a bunch of custom UV lights that you can't be in the room when they're on, but you can do an entire console in 30 minutes, and you're not sitting there with alcohol taking the paint off of it or whatever.
I got one of those Berlant mic pre's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's being rebuilt for me right now.
Really
nice.
Oh, man. I tell you what, I love, well, it's just the colors, man. You know, it's so many great colors. It's funny, when Al came through, I gave Al Schmidt a tour about 10 years ago, probably. And he goes, John, I'd heard, but I had no idea. I go, Al, we just want to give you what you want, man, you know. Of course, then when he came to record, we only had a few M149s, and he likes those, the newer Neumanns. Yeah. I had 3, so I ended up buying 4 more to make Al happy, because you will do whatever it takes to make Al happy, I promise you. If you have any ounce of anything in you, you're going to make Al happy.
Yeah. Get some nice, just long, the LA 1A.
Yeah, that's
Voice of America.
You don't see those. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's always on my ass. Get rid of this shit. Sell it. Sell it. And I go, you know, really?
Infernal Machine. Yeah.
But I will tell you.
Space Station.
Oh, Ursa Major. Yeah.
And
yeah, if you need an Ursa Major space station to get the exact sound you want, then I want to have one for you, and a spare, hopefully, you know.
EMT reverb. And I know you have EMT compressor somewhere. Oh, there it is, right there. EMT,
oh, that's a mastering compressor. Yeah.
Yeah. I love these. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been down this rack. Scamp rack.
Man.
Yeah. Wendell. Some Telos units.
I think we did a Van Halen door on this side. Yeah, we did.
Well, of course.
Yeah, got to. Got to. Eddie Van. So this is a little overdub edit room called H, and it's the control room's there. The record space is around the corner here. That's the machine room. There's a 1608 in here. A little bit of outboard stuff, you know. Looks like we got an Eve channel or two, and
yeah, it's basically overdubs.
Yep. But it feels like you get away from everyone in here, you know. It's nice in a way. And then my brother-in-law is a photographer, and he did all these pictures that you're looking at, the old Jim Morrison and Dylan and Ginger Baker and Janis Joplin and different people. Yeah, step down here. Not much to it, though, but Alison Krauss spent 6 weeks in this room, you know, not too long ago on another record. What we did, I wanted to have a great monitoring rig for whoever the players are. So everybody gets, this is a 24-channel mixer, even though 16 faders, 4 stereo returns. And what we'll usually do is put bass and drums through 1 and 2, pan it. And then you'll have kick, snare, hat, bass, keys, guitar, acoustic, you know.
It's the Dig Me
click.
box.
Yeah, vocal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that each player can set up their own mix, because we need the players to be inspired. We need them to hear what they want to hear. When you have only 1 or 2 mixes going to the whole band, a lot of times people want it different. Yeah.
They bitch.
Yeah,
They
so
want things.
that's what we did. And then on the stereo returns, we have reverbs, talkback, volume, and a couple other little things. A little built-in work shelf. I just locked it. That locks in and out. If you need a music stand, there you go. And we built them out of wood also for vocal booths, because Gordon Moat would notice if we had a metal one.
Yeah.
Because Gordon hears everything. 4 pairs of headphones and a Crown D75. This C room, when I talked earlier about George Massenburg, said he had the perfect room in his head for 25 years. And I said, let's build it. Well, what we're about to see is what that was and what we did. What there are 138,646 pieces of 1 by 1 inch wood coming off the walls. No 2 are the same length.
That's sort of true. There's 2 that are the same.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah. So when they built all this, they started, this wood would expand and contract. They went all the way around, the number that George picked. And when they got to the end right here, they were 1 short. So George said, I'll just duplicate 1. So they did. So this one.
That's why it sounds worse there.
Yeah,
No.
is duplicated. And the crazy thing is, the guy who duplicated it, he duplicated the first one. So
Wow.
if you look, these 2 are identical.
Okay, I learn new things about the studio every day. The corners are 50 cycle diffusers. Oh man, what is it?
Peter D'Antonio?
Peter D'Antonio. Is it RPG? Is that what his company's called? So the room is based around diffusion, obviously. There's between 80 and 100,000 pounds of wood on the wall. There's a giant I-beam in the middle of each wall that these things connect to, because otherwise, I can't even imagine. But, and we have this special service. They wear these little French maid outfits, and they come in with dusters and clean them about once a month. I'm kidding.
They're very short, very small.
We have a man lift.
You're not believing how many people have come in and said, God, who dusts this? And we're like,
Oh, I say, don't hide your drugs in there. You'll never find them.
Yeah.
It's impossible to focus on the wall is it because of the little darkness around
so one of the things they had to do is all this, they sealed it. So at one point, they came in and they tested it. They tested about an 8-foot piece. They sealed it all, spray sealed it. They had to seal the doors and make a tunnel, and guys in monkey, like space suits, hazmat.
Yeah.
And then they built the rest of it. And so you'd come in and you'd look at the rest of it and be like, oh, that's cool. But then the 8 feet they sealed, it tripped your mind out. And I think George kind of figured out that where they sealed it on the edge, it kind of makes a line and it confuses your brain on the shadow. And so
makes you feel like
but
you're
it was
going
weird
into
because
warp speed.
everywhere they didn't seal, you didn't get that feeling of like, whoa. But where they did seal it, you did. So
Now, the funny part is, all this wood is 4x8 sheets of 1 inch formaldehyde-free MDF. In 2004 or 5, when we built this room, this is a 40 by 28 shell. It's huge, but not so much after you get all this treatment. At that point in time, Microsoft Excel did not talk to a CNC router. So we paid some guy in Hawaii 14 grand to write the code between Excel and the router. And we had a local company cut this wood, which they would never do again.
That's exactly, they actually said that, we'll never do this again. Don't ever ask.
And we could get about, what, 6 inches of wall a day, maybe? Maybe? I don't know. I mean, they're 2 sheets high because we're about 15 feet high on the
one's an
diffusion.
8-foot sheet, one's a 7-foot sheet.
Yeah. And George, this was a 10,000 page Excel spreadsheet. But you're building this and you're going, is this shit gonna work? I mean, because, thank God it was really, really cheap to do it. So I wasn't worried at all, But there's a blind piano player named Gordon Mote, who I brought up his name earlier, but he'll go over, he works in A lot, and he'll go down that hall by himself doing this because he hears the walls, he hears the door. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. This guy will hear things, I've accepted it finally, that I'll never hear. But
sometimes if you forget to go get him, he'll just show up in the control room, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, Gordon. He goes, oh, I found my way. And he'll just get up from the piano. He'll be like, oh, there's a door. He'll go through the door. He'll be like, oh, there's something here. And he'll come all the way in the control room. But John brought him over here.
And I took him by the arm because I explained what's going on. I said, what we have is we've got a room. We have diffusion going on in here, especially from about 400 to about 4K, I think. A lot of what we hear in the general day. And I had him by the arm, and there's really not much of anything in here. So we come walking in, and he's going like that. I go, okay, Gordon, we're about to the middle of the room. Okay, he goes, I hear that. And there's a mic stand, not even a boom arm, just a straight mic stand. I went, I'm gonna choke you, man. I moved it out of the way. I go, okay, we're getting closer to the wall, and he's doing this. And finally, he touches a piece of wood. He goes, oh my God, I'd kill myself in here. And I went, yes, it works. It works, because if Gordon didn't hear it, it didn't hear. So in a lot of ways, you come in this room, and it's a little bit like being outdoors with the floor and the ceiling, I think is one way to put it,
I only really hear the floor in here.
Yeah. I guess we could get some rugs.
Well, that's funny. Every time I've mixed in here, I put a carpet down.
Mm-hmm. Then what happened a couple of years ago, we get a call from Dolby, and we had also done a Sony demonstration in here of the 360. And it's mind-boggling. I called George and I go, the room found its purpose. He goes, oh no, it's always had that purpose. We just didn't have the technology yet, And you know what? I'm not going to argue, George. I know you can see into the future, whatever. But, and George liked the room, this setup. I was scared shitless that George is going to come in here and go, this, that, what, But Dolby, we got together, talked about this Atmos room. I go, well, I've become a big fan of ATC speakers. I go, I really need it. I can't do it half-assed. We got to really do it right if we're going to do it. And so it all worked out. We have a 9.1.6 room here, 9 at eye level, first number. 0.1 is subs, even though we have 6 subs. I think they all get the same information. And the 0.6 is 6 speakers above our heads. 2 in front, 2 beside you, 2 behind you. With the Atmos software, you can remix or mix any song, and you can place things and move things while the song is playing. They have these objects, which are these little ball-looking things on the computer screen, and you can assign any sound to an object, like a vocal or a vocal verb or a guitar, and then you can proceed to move that around the room. And it's quite an enlightening experience. The higher quality at which you experience music, the more emotional it becomes. And I don't know anyone that listens to music without emotion being the main driving force behind why you listen to music. Because music makes you happy and sad and angry and everything else, you know? But we got the Massenburg seal of approval, which shocked me. And George actually comes in here and mixes different projects. I know he was doing an Alicia Keys thing recently. We got this little area called the Birdhouse, we call this, where we'll do listening parties. In the wintertime, we can drop the sides and heat it. But it's nice, you know. In Nashville, what, Vance, about 15 days a year, it's perfect?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to go in here. Yeah. This is our tech ground indoors. We have, I think, how many? 200.
There's 9.
9 or 10, yeah. And then we've got about 40 or 50 probably portable units for balance power.
And so all those wires you're seeing, those are all from the slabs and from the walls. The output of that goes out to the star ground.
Yes. But I really, truly believe that our electricity is 3 to 5 dB quieter than anybody else's.
It's very quiet here.
We've been just doing a quick run around the place.
Well, this is the best room.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
How you doing, man?
Even though, Paulie, how many kids do we have in the warehouse? 25 or 30?
Yeah, at least.
We have 60 plus drum kits in this crazy place.
There's our latest one.
Yeah, this
Have you? I don't
Tem.
think you saw this.
No, I haven't.
Curly maple.
Yeah.
And I'm just working on a 1980 Gretsch snare right now. That's
Show them the snare
fabulous.
wall. We got a wall of snare drums right that way. And Paulie, you can explain them if you want. They go from 1917 to today.
Yeah, it's a very special collection. Like right up here, we've got all of Kurt Waltrip's Joyful Noise, lots of brass, copper, maple, and the wall of Keplinger snares.
I'm a big Greg Keplinger fan. He's a Seattle guy that makes these drums out of iron.
That's what we used the other day.
Steel.
We used that Keplinger you put in the control room.
Yeah, that one was steel.
Yeah.
And on those, on the inside of every drum, it's stamped "not fragile."
Right. There's a lot
But
of
the
the
cool
old
thing is,
Gretsch.
if your bus
Old WFL. This is
from
from like 1930s. It's a broad collection. Old Ludwigs down there.
Then we've got some great
Radio
old
King,
leading-
Slingerlands. It's crazy. There's even a Leedy kit up there when the old, before they had tunable bottom heads. And I think that's from like the 20s era. Maybe something like that.
They'd use a candle
Yeah.
to tune them.
You get them hot.
Yeah, use a
Yeah.
candle.
I'm a big 3-ply fan. In the 50s, Gretsch
Yeah, it's-
brown badge were 3-ply, and in the
Great
60s they
time
went to
to
6-ply, and they're great too. But the 3,
Yeah. 50s, 60s, 50s. This is very special kit. The Copper Mist.
it's rare.
20-inch kick is pretty rare. Anniversary sparkle kit.
But you can come here and beat the shit out of it, and it
And
doesn't
then
matter.
there's 60s Ludwigs. We have several of these. That's a great rock and roll drum kit.
or whatever, I just say that's
And
it's just
there's a Craviotto kit.
yeah.
One of their mahogany kits.
Oh yeah.
Here's all our Craviotto snares up here.
I think we have 165 or 70 altogether. It's kind of ridiculous.
Cymbal collection.
You never need a fucking
A lot of old Zildjians.
Yeah. Or we'll send it
I mean,
over.
everything really. A lot of old Zildjians. Heisty,
I've got
vinyl,
like 10 or 12.
Istanbul. Istanbul sent us a lot of these.
Yeah, I don't have any more to place.
Real dry.
I know.
Very popular.
So-
Thin and dark
and,
is what
you know, I
everyone's
don't play-
recording these days.
We got a 7,500 square foot warehouse, and then 2 smaller storage, 10 by 20 or whatever they are.
And then the live school, we have some stuff
A
over
bunch of
there.
stuff up there.
In fact, I think this is going to go over there. But this kick drum, I didn't realize it when we got this, but it's 20-inch deep. It's
Wow.
Killer, man. I love it. 22 by 20.
Like a cannon.
It's awesome.
The 22-inch 3-ply Gretsch round badge from the 50s, you kick that kick, and I think you should go, when you say, what's a kick drum? It should be that sound. It just is.
Every time.
There's a note. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so good. And cymbals, well, you can tell them, I mean.
Yeah, I was just showing them this.
We a drum company or a drum dealer will come to us, like the last batch we bought were a bunch of one-off beta testing cymbals. And we sit in a room and hit them all day. And then you have the yes pile, the maybe pile, and the no pile.
And then the I can't hear anymore pile.
Right. Which happens by noon.
Yeah.
Those were all the Zildjian prototype stuff. They had piles of them. That was a fun day.
And by the way, we might as well make it official. The finest tambourine ever made is a 60s Ludwig double row.
Yep. I've got one.
Yeah.
Got one for $10.
I've got
Do we have any here?
$10 at a punch.
They're
Dude, I'll give you 15.
They're my climate control box.
Yes, man.
Mine had
Shake one, Paulie.
mine had the top head on
Yeah.
with the clip on.
Yes.
And the head, when I went to take the head off, it was the original head. It was stuck on.
Stuck onto it.
This one-
Peel it off.
This was the same deal here. You can see where it had the
Yep.
head.
Yep.
Now that is what a tambourine is supposed
Now,
to sound like.
do you know who if you're looking for these, who you're bidding against?
Who?
Stapleton.
Oh,
Morgan and Chris.
yeah.
They buy these every time they
Really?
find them.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what, dude?
We
Maybe
just bought
you and
two.
me can give him one for Christmas or something like this year. This is a power room, and there was a guy with the company that did all the pipe work in here, and it's just a work of art. Those are two 600 amp panels for audio because there's so much distribution. We only have 600 amps single phase for audio for this building, but it needs to be distributed in so many places that we filled up a panel in a hurry and added a second. And the school's over there.
Yep.
When you come to school here, you can do 2 weeks in the classroom, but in the classroom, there's a 1608 API, a couple racks of gear, a couple little record spaces. Everybody gets an iPad as part of their tuition. They get an iPad. At every desk is an Apollo. We just upgraded to the X8s.
X8s.
And then Mark has a 16, I think.
Yeah.
And there's Pro Tools, Logic, every UA plug-in on the planet in these units. And we learn how to get great. And then you spend 2 weeks there, and then you do 2 weeks in the rooms. And you get to learn in the same rooms where we're making hit records all the time, which is, I just feel like the best way to learn is to have your hands on the gear and know what it feels like and know what it sounds like. And you also have to be aware of how great it is when you put the perfect mic in front of the perfect input in a perfect room, perfect-ish. I should say that because what's perfect? I don't know. And then you realize it sounds like this. The bar is up here.
Yeah.
When you leave here, you're going to try to get there. You're going to move mics. You're going to try different mics. You're going to, but we can get an incredible sound with 3 SM57s and an Apollo. So, again, you need a great drummer. That helps too, a lot.
John, where does the studio name come from?
I'll give you 3 guesses. Singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. There's your guess. I'm a Beatle freak. I can't help it. I've always been a Beatle freak. And with my personality, I discovered at one point I had 25,000 vinyl Beatle records. What I ended up doing was, because my parents died and I thought my brother about lost his mind, and they didn't have tons of stuff, but they had enough stuff to wear somebody out. So what I did, I sold half the collection to a record chain in Japan called, oh God, I can't.
How many butchers did you keep?
159. One first state stereo, two first state monos, 3 sealed second states. I gave one to Jeff Emmerich.
Oh, that's cool.
I paid through the nose for those things, but I don't care. I'm a Beatle freak. It changed my life. This place would not be here if it weren't for the Beatles.
Yeah.
And you got to do what you got to do. You know?
Yeah.
Man, crazy.